It's nice to see everyone here again and to welcome our new attendees tonight. Welcome to all of you. It's my very great pleasure to introduce my old friend Eagleman. I was thinking today how long we've known each other, Ed, and I'm thinking like 35 years.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Your Northwood days.
No, it was I lived when I was in college. I lived with my older sister Sylvia in a beautiful apartment complex in Bloomington called Henbrook.
Oh.
And Ed and his late wife Mary, the beautiful Mary, lived there. And my sister and I started playing doubles tennis with Ed and Mary.
Oh.
And we've just somehow stayed friends
Over
the years. We've stayed in touch, and I reviewed one of your books for Knight Ridder one time, and we've just kind of hung together. So I think I'll let you tell your story, Ed.
Okay.
I mean, he's got such an amazing story and amazing life that he will do it better justice than I. So we're going to do our normal format, so he'll talk to us for about an hour. And then if you have questions or comments, we will then take the final half hour to do that. All right?
Her sister was a pilot, and she had a plane out of Crystal Airport. And so I was airport manager for Metropolitan Airports Commission, the little airports. And I just naturally ran into Sylvia. And, you know, being a female pilot, she's a little bit unusual, different. Oh, there were some, but not lots. And we just became good friends. I mean, pilots are pilots. And I had been a Phantom pilot in Nam. Came back, went through law school, and I was a university pilot. And they just put me through law school. I didn't know a dime when I graduated, and I put my wife through 2 years of college to finish up her degree. And she never worked at all, and she just, raised, we call kids magpies, and raised magpies.
Several of them.
So, anyhow, it was nice not having a college debt like these poor kids nowadays. So, I got my law degree, and I did not want to raise my kids in South Dakota. And I'm an Indian, and a very prejudiced state, I think you can agree. And I didn't want to raise my kids there, and I had the opportunity to go where I wanted to after I got my law degree, and so I came to Minnesota. And my sister, brother-in-law had a farm in Cannon Falls as a little boy. Not raised there, but summers I'd go there, and I always liked Minnesota. So my kids did well. Several have master's degrees and had good jobs, and most live here in Twin Cities. I got addicted to, I do have an addiction, and I got addicted, and the only place to satisfy it was Minnesota. And so I came here to satisfy my addiction in tennis. I used to play 6-7 days a week. We had a tennis court right outside the apartment, and we just got hooked into it. My daughters did well, all conference. We hit 1,000 balls to them. And I'm not a deadbeat dad. I'm a damn good dad, and kids will verify that. And so then my arm got hurt, and I went into pickleball, and that's where I'm still come back here every winter because I've still got the addiction. It's just got a different label. It's called pickleball, www. I just come from playing it not too long ago. That's why I keep my hat on, because my head is all sweaty and my hair is all over. So I've had an extremely adventurous life. A lot of it was in the Marine Corps. Indians in South Dakota, my age group, when you graduated from high school, you didn't know anything about college. Your parents went to boarding school, and boarding school was totally unprepared. You were not prepared for academics. Boarding school's function was on Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And Jesus does not get you a job. Now, on every job application I've ever been on, including the Marine Corps enlistment papers, there was not one mention of Jesus. So it don't do you any good. And so my brothers and sisters are older than I am, except for one sister right next to me. She was older just a couple years. They went to boarding school. They did not know what college is. unfortunately, World War II for us wasn't good for the Jewish people, but it was good for the Indian, because the boys went off into the military. And they were 4 years in a foxhole with a white guy. And there was no restriction on Indians being in the Army, Navy, or Marines. And the Airborne and the Marine Corps loved them. And then, of course, you all heard about the Navajo code talkers. Marine Corps loved them. And the Marine Corps, they never loved me, but they always treated me well. I was treated well in the Marine Corps. So I went to Korea out of high school. Had no idea or whatever. And I was a pretty good athlete, so I was sitting in the dugout waiting for my buddies to come. And this one big white kid buddy of mine, top athlete, we had skipped 5th grade, so we were 16 years old in the senior year, which is a handicap in sports, but we were so good we still made varsity. But we knew we could have been all-state had we been back 18 or 19 as seniors. He steps in the dugout and changes my life. Jimmy A.H.O., A-Ho, finish. Hey man, you want to change your life? And I'm sitting there in August. Have not a clue what to do with my life except work construction. Just, 16-year-old kid. You don't really, 17 now, barely 17. So we were eligible for Legion Ball. We were the 2 best players in the team. Hey man, you want to change your life? I said, yeah, like what? He says, we can go in the Marine Corps for 2 years, we'll have 4 years of college education. We'll get out, we'll be bigger man, we'll be pros. That's all he cared about, was to be a pro. Baseball, football, his choices. I said, well, you might be, I don't think I will. But I said, So what do? He said, we go down, we sign up for 2 years, we come back, we'll be bigger, we'll be pros. And you know what? He put on a Baltimore Colt uniform. Weeb Eubank used to be the coach of the Baltimore Colts. And he drafted 4 buffs. He was a walk-on at Colorado. I went to South Dakota State. And lo and behold, became a linebacker, and he wore that uniform, and now is a wealthy chiropractor in Carlsbad. He said, I got hurt, but not bad. I used to go to the reunions, and Johnny Unitas would come in a wheelchair. So-and-so would come in on crutches. So-and-so come in with a cane. He said, those guys are so banged up. He said, they really pay the penalty. So anyhow, he changed my life. I get out, South Dakota State U, get a chance to go to St. John's University. You're familiar with that, good school. Way out in the woods, you study or they kick you out. I graduated from there, Marine Corps come through, and before graduation they said, why don't you go back in? And I was pre-med, and I said, if I can fly, I will go back in. I've had my tour on the ground, I was in Korea. He said, we'll test your eyes and ears, no problem. Tested my reflexes, and they were amazed. Indians have terrific reflexes. I can beat anybody in Rapid City except for one Chinaman, and they're Indians too, or we're Mongolian. And he's twice as young as I am. I'm
Is this
78.
in pickleball you can beat them?
Pickleball,
Okay.
www. If you're 55, 60, get into pickleball and you still got a set of legs. I just lost 20 pounds from sitting at a table selling my books in the summertime. And because I play pickleball about 6-7 days a week here. They're a real good player. I've won 2 gold medals. So and I still got terrific reflexes. I love it. I just love it. So anyhow, that's a good thing. Now you come here to hear about Indians, so that's enough about me. But I did get out from Nam, and 8 days out of cockpit, I was sitting in law school. And then I graduated from law school, worked at the city attorney's office, worked for the Airports Commission, and then became an author. And so I got a lot of books. I was pretty moved when I came back with the American Indian movement. I was pretty angry about the Christians banning our Sundance and banning our spirituality. They illegally, unconstitutionally did it, but got away with it. And so they lobbied Congress and banned our spirituality. I didn't know a thing about any of this. But after I got into it, I said, this is going to change. And I was one of the stalwarts back in the 60s. And I went through 6 Sundances. A Sundance, we believe in God no different than the Jewish people do, Yahweh. We do not argue about religion. We think it's very, very foolish. We will not proselytize. Most Jewish people that I know that have told me, I've spoken in several synagogues, they tell me that they do not proselytize. I think it's very, very dangerous to proselytize. Why? Because you're trying to tell somebody who God is. And our Sioux Indian minds are quite Jewish. We're tribal. We will not lie to ourselves. We think Creator is all truth. And we think Creator is all knowledge. That's it. We don't go any further than that. We don't know if it's a he or she, what, no what. We don't worry about it. I do not know if it's a he or she. I don't know what it is. So we call it an it. It does this. It probably makes, everything is suppositional with us. Suppositional. I do not know who God is. Whatever you believe, that's your mind, your experiences. So therefore, we will not have any wars. We do supposition that ultimate, we have 100 names for great mystery. The third prerequisite that we have for a Creator is that it is a mystery. No one knows. No one. Those are the 3, and that's it. Now we do beseech to it. We don't worship. We think worship is kissing God's ass, to put it bluntly. We don't worship. We acknowledge. We appreciate. And the best way to acknowledge and appreciate is like a parent over their child. When it walks, they, everything the child does, they're thrilled because it is progressing. We suspicion greatly that ultimate, when we recognize that it made something and we see the truth within it, it is pleased because we have recognized what it exhibits. And that is much higher than worship. No. It's when we can recognize what God has made. Here's something that, especially with the Christian audience, I'm going to pretend that you're all Christians.
Some of them.
Oh, good, good. Okay, now good. That you are a Christian, that it makes it easier for me to talk. Because I'm very pro-Jewish in so many ways. But here's things I'm going to tell you that you've never even thought about. Why is God benevolent? Or not why, but God is benevolent. How do we know that? Simple. Poof! Cut your hand. It heals. Who made it heal? Ultimate. You fall on the ice and dislocate your shoulder. It's so painful. You faint. I know the last time I fell on it, not one, but one time I fell on the ice, I fainted because of the pain. And on the way to the hospital, he set my shoulder. I'd wake up, and I'd faint again. What a wonderful thing to go back into. Who made that? That you faint when you receive extreme pain. You ever think about tasting? This has a taste. It's pleasing. Who made it? This has a taste that's very pleasing. A myriad, a variety of enjoyment that Creator makes for us. And we take it for granted. It's not in your Bible. There's nothing about a tangerine is pleasing or nothing. We go on and on and on and on about how pleasing Creator is and how caring. So we call it great benevolent. So Creator likes it that I recognize that is from it. Now we do not have a devil. We think of great benevolent as being so benevolent and considerate that it has no use for a devil or a Satan. And most Jewish people that I have come across tell me that they don't have one either. Now, maybe there might be a few sects and that have them. But most of them do not have it. Why? Because it's not observed. Nature, which is made by Creator, I don't think you can deny that. Nature, made by Creator. Nature has no superstitions. There are no Sasquatches out there in the woods. So this devil, to us, is made up. It's man-made up to control you. If you can put the fear in somebody, they can own you. And we think down through time that has happened. A few heads going up and down. Yeah, about time somebody said that. Now, there might be a devil. There might be a Satan. So if you think so, you keep it. Keep it. You got it. I don't want it. My life is very, very pleasing because I don't have one. I don't have that fear. I really don't. I can go downstairs in the basement. You're not worried. Heard a noise down here. It might be the creaking of the wind. It might be the temperature of the house, whatever. It could be a human being too. But the fears that are so self-generated, it's pleasing not to have them. And it also gives me a recognition of ultimate that it is not that cruel ogre that has got this hell thing to burn in fire for the rest of your life. We don't have that either. We have discipline. We killed pedophiles. We had capital punishment. But only after thoroughly reasoning out what happened in victimization. We don't have forgiving. We don't forgive. We are so locked into truth that if you say you forgive, you're saying it didn't happen. What about the poor victim? What does forgiveness do for the victim? I was giving a lecture in some place in New York, and this poor English girl, pretty little thing, getting older, who was sitting there, and I had gone to lunch with her, and she told me her life story. She had been raped by a pair of uncles, and her dad worked for the pair of uncles. Don't say anything, your dad will lose his job. I had to live with that. And it really destroyed her mind. She went to a couple divorces. She had all kinds of problems. Psychologists, forgive. All I hear is the damn forgiveness. And she was English. And English people do not swear. I go to England every year. I get a couple books over there. And English people, they just don't swear. And you go in their pubs and you don't have any sawdust on the floor because anybody get knocked down like we do out in western South Dakota. They're very polite. At 10:30 they all go home. And extremely polite people. And so she was just, you're going to talk about forgiveness, I understand that. And I said, what are you going to say? I said, well, I'll give you a little clue. I said, you'll hear most of it when I'm talking. I said, but I'll give you some little insight. All right. So anyhow, I gave it a talk, and I got into forgiveness. And she said, you mean? She said that when I go in the spirit world, I can chastise those uncles forever? I said, well, I'm not sure about that. I'm just telling you, this is the way we believe. We could be wrong. But she did. She pretty well knew where I was coming from. Some of us Sioux people. We got a lot of Christian Sioux. and they're locked into Jesus, and they're saying, "Oh, don't listen to Ed McGaa." That's fine. You're not going to listen to me. But the Sioux that I have been with, the Sundance people, what we call traditionalists, they do not have a devil, and they do not have forgiveness. And the holy men, and I've learned this from the medicine people, they were very, very powerful. We also call in the spirits. The spirit is simply a very intelligent, moral, ethical person in this life that has gone on into the spirit world and has progressed so far that they progress further in there, and then they come back and they become spirit helpers, and they warn and they teach and they cure and they heal. And our medicine people have spirit helpers. And Mr. Eagle here has seen Uweepy ceremony with Bill Eaglefeather. We just talked about Bill Schwagman, that where I was his assistant up in his reservation. Very, very powerful ceremony in which an Indian father wanted the Uweepy ceremony, spirit calling, to find out about the death of his daughter. And the daughter was walking down the highway, and the car was coming. They went off into the grass part, and the car swerved purposely and killed the daughter. And the daughter came into the ceremony and told exactly what happened. And that was an extremely powerful ceremony.
Could you say a little more about what a spirit calling is?
A spirit is? Yeah.
No, a spirit calling ceremony.
Okay.
That's
Uweepy spirit ceremony. The medicine person can be a man or woman. We don't have any barriers in gender. Down through time. In fact, we Sioux came out of the Carolinas, and it was the Uweepy that warned us to get out of there. The Washichu disease, white man's disease, is going to kill you if you don't leave. We left comfortable Piedmont farms in Carolinas and left. And the other tribes didn't. They died, and the Cherokees didn't, and they paid the penalty in the Long March. So that was Uweepy, warning from spirit world, allowed by Creator. So we have a ceremony in which a person's daughter, as the example, might fall in a river or the sun and drown. They can't find the body. So there's one particular Sundance I was in. We ask each other, we say, "How come you're here? What'd you do?" And I said, "Well, I was in Vietnam. I wanted to come back alive." And my daughter graduated from college. It really wasn't tragic, but I just wanted to thank Creator for my daughter graduating from college. Well, I thought, "Oh, my daughter fell in the river, and she drowned." And my wife was going crazy. "Go to a medicine man and take a vow to dance Sundance." When you ask God for something, you can really make it make it possibly happen if you take a vow. That's how we think. So when I wanted to come back from Vietnam, I went and I took a vow. If I come back from Vietnam, I'll dance the Sundance. That's not a guarantee, but it does help. And when I did, you will see the enemy 100 times and the bullets will bounce from your plane. And I wore a stone around, and I had some real close calls. And I come back from Vietnam. So this person, my daughter fell in the river, we couldn't find her body. I went to the medicine man and took a Sundance vow. And we had ceremony. Spirit came in, said, "The river is going to turn to the left as it goes downstream. There's a gate down there. The gate's got a red sign on it, there's no hunting sign, no trespassing. And it's a metal gate. Right up from there, upstream there, where it turns, there's a cottonwood that's fell over. And its roots have snagged your daughter. Your daughter's there." They went there, found the daughter. He danced the Sundance.
Wow.
That is what we have for our spirituality. That's very tribal. But we have medicine people that have that communication. Joel Osteen, I'm sure you heard of him, biggest charlatan in the United States, along with that gal from Texas. He could never call in a spirit. No way. So that is our Uweepy ceremony. And there's elaboration to it and how you do it and this and that. Yes, go ahead.
Could you talk about the Sundance?
I can't hear very well. You're close to you.
Could you talk about the Sundance?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so when I come back, I had to go through Sundance. And Fool's Crow was the main Sundance intercessor. In those days, the missionaries were very powerful. For probably 12 years, we had only 8 sun dancers. And I'm trying to think of that. Eddie Loon. Do you know Eddie Loon? Eddie Loon would come. He kind of had one eye, a squinchy eye, and he had a cane. And he would always be at the Sundance. George Gap. And I can name some of the, I started forgetting them. Anyway, about 8 dancers. That was it. Because the Indian people were so Christian that they put down the Indians that went traditional. Now it's the other way around. The other way around, big time. But anyway, and there was few young guys. And Buddy Redbow was one of them. I was probably the 3rd one, Sonny Larby. Then I came back, and the missionaries really didn't want me in there because I was going to law school. I was a Marine captain. And if I'd have been a drunk, then they probably would have left me alone. But I wasn't. So they didn't want anybody educated in that going back. And plus, the Indians really respect my combat record. And there's, I don't know, I took that vow because I wanted to live, and I had a wife and kids. I didn't want them to be orphans. And so we started out Sunday, and you wear a swimming suit underneath here, and then you wear a kilt, and it's ankle length, and you have an eagle bone whistle around your neck, and you have 2 eagle feather spikes in a sage wreath around here, and they'll paint a symbol on your chest. Mine was the eagle because I'm Eagleman, Wamblee Chasha. When I was a kid, I was Wamblee Sheila. I was named by Ben Black Elk, who was the interpreter for Black Elk Speaks. That's what you wear. You have on your wrists, you have sage, and then you have sage on your ankles. And so, and you're barefoot. And so you have a peace pipe, and I didn't have a peace pipe, so Ben Black Elk brought his father's pipe of Black Elk's vision and had me carry it. And so I did. I just didn't, I was just fulfilling my vow. And so then we start out, you go through a sweat lodge in the morning, you get real clean, and then you get dressed, and then you go out and you go into the arena. And this arena has 4 direction colors. I use red east, yellow south, black west, white north because of Black Elk's vision. And you have your peace pipe. So you go out there, and the drumming is totally different. It's a lot faster rate. Boom, boom. And then the singers, it's a totally different sound than powwow dancing. It's so beautiful. And they start drumming and singing. And you go and you present your pipes to the 4 directions. Well, why do you present your pipes to 4 directions? Because there are 4 directions. There is Wayajata, the white north. There's Wio Hiapata, the sun, the sun comes across, Hiapata. Every day the sun comes across, it doesn't really, but to us it does. And every day there's new knowledge. It will bring you if you look for it. See, once again, knowledge. Learn knowledge from Creator. And then Itokaga, it makes grow, the yellow south power. Wio Hiapata is red, white, red, yellow. And then Wio Piata, the sun, it goes down. It becomes black. Naturally, snow is white, it's north. The yellow of the south power, the sun comes up higher, higher, higher. In the springtime, in the summer, it makes grow wheat, corn, grass, yellow corn, yellow. And then the red dawn, boom, in the morning, the red dawn comes up, new knowledge of a new day. And this is what you're here for, to gather. You're gathering knowledge right now. The idiots going up and down the road out there now, they have no clue. They're just driving, and they're getting there, and they go back. And they drive, and they go back. You are trying to improve your mind, your gift. This is your gift, your memory. We do not believe that God judges us. God has got too damn much to do. 7, 8 billion damn people. How many million die every day? Or what? And then you're going to sit at the head. Well, now, what did you do? Did you pee in your bathtub or whatever you did? You know, come on, let's get out of that. Creator has got vast galaxies. We judge each other. Native spirituality is common sense. And this is proof right here. You have a memory. If you had horrible things happen to you, and you know them, they're in your mind, you don't leave them because of some psychologist or some minister or some priest. You remember them. The only thing that goes into the spirit world that is yours is your memory. Your body stays here. This is very disappointing to the Mormon religion because the men think that their dicks go on. I don't think so. If you dug up Mormon bodies, take a look. But that's man again. Man's fantasy, and they get 3, 4, 5 wives. And their wife, they have to snip their fingers like that so she can come out of the coffin. So she has to be good to them and say everything that they want to hear or do. Indians don't believe that. Oh, we had 2 wives, but your second wife, you don't pick her. Your wife picks her. Combat, weather, danger, hunting, kill off at least half the Sioux men. Sioux are very, very kind-hearted. They do not want to see anybody lonely the rest of their life. Your wife would say, my sister was betrothed to Two Hawks. He got killed by the crows. She has nobody to take care of her. I think she should come in and live with us. Or my niece. They did have a couple wives, but it was a section. There's not one petroglyph in all the caves and all the carvings across America where there's a nude chick with her chaganunkies hanging out. No, you can't find one petroglyph. There's no Playboy magazines in the Indian history. Proof. White people don't like to hear that. They're so damn sexually oriented. I like sex. Hell, I got nothing against sex. But we do not carry it off into our religion, and we do not carry it off into the. We just we don't display it. So there's so many, and you've never heard that before. There's so many things you never hear about Indians because it's all been covered up. We're supposed to be good little red people, and that are and don't say anything. Be Vine Deloria. Vine Deloria was a great writer, but he never told you anything. He had a throne in Indian studies and would never come out and tell you about boarding school. Would not tell you about Canton Insane Asylum, where they took our medicine men and medicine women and put them in there. No Vine Deloria, don't talk about that. Ed McGaa does. So Ed McGaa is outspoken and all those other words. But I don't really give a damn. You know, I really don't. These babies here will go on. And I'm very versatile. I even wrote a Dakota pheasant book that doesn't say anything about Indians.
Ooh.
So Sundance is simply 4 days in the hot sun, July, August, and you present your pipes, and of course you go in and sit down after your presentation. That takes about an hour, and then you sit down in a Bowery, and then a medicine person will speak on morality and ethics, and that goes on all into the afternoon. Then you come back, and you're so tired. You don't really get hungry until the second day and the third day. And it's just an ordeal. But it's an ordeal because God gave you something, so you give back. Any of you ladies get cancer? Take a vow. Take a vow. God, I'll do this if I can have less pain, or if miraculously if I could heal this thing. Take a vow. Promise to God for God to give you something back, and you give something back to God. That it doesn't work 100%, but I've seen it work. It's a very miraculous situations.
Don't you pierce your chest or something in the
Yeah,
Sundance too?
the mechanics of it is that you lay down, and they will take a awl when it comes. We pierced on the fourth day. We didn't go through all 4 days piercing. There's plenty of just being pierced. That's enough. And so you lay down on the fourth day. You're so tired and fatigued. You're just waiting for it to get. I was anyhow. I was just waiting for it to get over with. And they take and bring your skin out. They stick a needle here and pull it out. Your skin is very, very loose in a lot of ways. Not through the muscle. And then they punch an awl through, and it goes through. And then they take a peg that you got in your swimming suit in your pocket. You take a very smooth peg, and they push that through the hole, the tunnel. They push that through. So you got this. Too bad I don't have a button shirt, but I could do it a little bit extremely. So you got this here sticking through, and so you got this peg here. Then they bring your rope down, and they bring the rope up to the peg, and then they tie the peg and the rope together with a thong, wrap-around thong. So now you're connected to Mother Earth. The tree of life is in the center of the arena, and you now are physically connected to it. And that's your umbilical. When you came into this world, you were connected to your mother. And then they cut the umbilical, then you go forth on your journey. And this is the same thing. You are now connected physically to your Mother Earth, and you stand up, and the pain goes away, it gets numb. And then you go back to the end of your rope, or towards the end, and you're holding, and then you just kind of, it's sort of limp like that. And then you just wait when you watch the other guy get pierced, and then 10, 15 people being pierced, and then the drums start, and then now you're going to break. And so you come in and touch the tree, and the tree actually whistles. You have an eagle bone whistle in your mouth, and the drums, and you come in and touch the tree, and when you touch that tree, the tree shrills. And in my book, these two books, Mother Earth, and probably maybe some others, but I can't remember them all. But this in here, this one tells about the Lone Cloud Sundance, in which I was pierced, and I'm back here, and I was one of the first to be pierced, and Bill Eaglefeather was also pierced, full scroll pierces. And we had about 6, 8, 10 dancers to wait on. So we're talking to each other, and he says, looking after you. You look over there, and there's way to the south was a cloud about the size of a football field. It was a no-wind day. No clouds were in the sky. But you're so tired, I would like to have said, well, who cares? But you don't say that to a medicine person. And I looked at it like that. So then Full School came, and he grabs me by my sage wrist, and we go in and we touch the tree. We back off, and that cloud is coming closer. No wind day. And by the time we touch the tree the fourth time, it's above us, raining lightly upon us. Now, Creator is the only entity that controls that cloud. Creator is telling us that what you're doing, I appreciate. That is the power of our spirituality. And that drives Christians nuts. Because they want the ownership of God, from our experience anyhow. And that's where they're at. And they, like I said, banned our spirituality. They did all kinds of, but now with AIM and guys like me, they don't mess with us. They leave us alone. They don't interfere. They used to interfere. And did all kinds of bad things to us, but they don't dare do that anymore. So now our youth have gone back to our spirituality. The older people that are scared of Jesus and the devil, they're still good, but we don't give them a bad. We don't even notice them. because they're afraid. And our religion is not based on fear or control. So, and we're quite happy with it. We're not, and it's really growing considerably. Now, I've gone to Spain and various foreign countries because the people in Europe are very curious about our way, and they want to know more about it. And so, what I have seen over there is that they're Western Europe, Spain, UK, even Ireland, and Germany, the monasteries and the convents are falling down. And if you don't believe me, go there and see for yourself. The people, you go to a gas station, oh, I forgot about that thing.
Right.
Yeah. I forgot totally about it. And the people are no longer what we Indians would call brainwashed. And you have to see it for yourself. I think climate change and planetary heating has had a lot to do with the big change. And in America, it's not happening because of the far right, the evangelicals, the Sarah Palins, the Rick Santorums, and that's how they get into a political office, is through the churches. And in England, if you rent a car, learn how to drive on the wrong side of the road, and I go there for 3-4 day workshops, so naturally I get there a little early and I kind of cruise around a little bit for the first day or two. And I always pull into the petrol station. And there's always a church, because it's downtown, they're down the village, and the church is in a very prominent position. And the churches are decayed, falling down, weeds. And I say, and I know the answer, but I say it anyhow. Oh, that church over there, it doesn't look like it's very well used. And usually the petrol station attendant, whatever, there's nobody goes there, maybe once a year or something, or twice a year, they try to clean it up or whatever. No one goes there anymore. You're a Yank, aren't you? Yes, I am. We don't have those loonies in our parliament like you people do. Over and over and over, you hear that. And they have seen through it. The church in Western Europe is falling down. Australia is worse. They're very insultive, not to us, but they like Indians. And but they really, you don't see hardly any new churches there. So that's an awakening, and I think climate change and planetary heating has got a lot to do with it. I think planetary heating, climate change is happening. And we do believe in scientific law. We do not believe in superstition as far as the resurrection and Jesus having a magic wand and changing it all. We don't think that he's got the power to override Creator's scientific laws of physics, laws of chemistry, math. Those are set in concrete steel, and they have been keeping the universe together for quite a while. And Darwin's theory, at least the main imports of Darwin's theory, we generally figure, we probably come from evolution. But we don't want to get in a fight about it. Everything is a mystery. We say you could be right. An atheist might be right to us. It's either right or it's wrong. It's 50% right or it's 50% wrong. It's just like us. So we're not even going to argue with an atheist. I'd rather have an atheist for a neighbor than an ISIS Arab and going to cut my head off, or an ultra goofball Christian, and there's plenty of them. You get in my position and you catch a little flack from those types, but I don't sweat it. I got way more brains than they got. See, they're pretty ignorant, very ignorant, but yet they elect people into office. But I think hopefully America will be intelligent enough to see through them. we'll find out. So Sundance is a large, well, it used to be a tribal ceremony. The whole tribe would go out and besiege to Ultimate. And Red Cloud had a fort surrounded, and they were going to capitulate. They were starving, and mainly they were hot August. They didn't have enough water. They were going to capitulate the next day. Next morning, Red Cloud's troops were gone. And so they asked him later on, he said, why did you walk away from a sure victory? I had a date with God. We had a Sundance scheduled. That is more important than killing men. Crazy Horse would go up on a mountain in a high area. Why do we go? There's no mosquitoes up there. There's no rattlesnakes up there. Rattlesnake is not going to go up the top of a mountain and bite you. It's going to be hunting down below where there's a game. And that is, plus you can see all what, in your view, what Creator has made. And it's a very, very powerful experience to Vision Quest. I live in the Black Hills in the summertime, and I meet people during the winter, and they talk about Vision Quest. Well, you can come stay at my place, and I'll put you up in the hill, and I'll come and check on you. And they'll come for 2, 3, 4 days in the Black Hills. And I have really very secluded places for them to go to. So if any of you want a Vision Quest, let me know, or let Gail know, and we'll arrange it for you. Vision Quest is a singular ceremony in which you want to connect to ultimate power. The huge group ceremony to Sundance. Uweepi is a small ceremony, 5, 10 people mostly, in which a special need, which I've explained to you. Sweat Lodge is 10 to 15 group people inside of a lodge in which you use heat from the sun, and you go in a bathing suit, and women, you go in a bathing suit with a little t-shirt on top, and we all go in there and we sit in a circle, and we beseech to ultimate power through 4 doors. 4 times we open up the lodge, or even more if we have to, and you will sweat. And we have red hot rocks that were brought in, we pour water on them, and we sweat. And then the third endurance of the Sweat Lodge is when we pray. Each person prays out loud, beseeches to Creator or the spirit world that is looking on for certain special needs. The first part is simply introducing ourselves to spirit world and thanking them for coming. And they're in there. And there's all kinds of things that you'll see that you never saw before. And then the second endurance is usually a time of contemplation. I'll usually sing a song, and I'll sing a song for you now to give you an idea. You want to work that so you can put it on me. And then, so you sing a song, and then we're calling the spirits. God made music, birds chirp and sing, and so we think music is a good thing. And what did I do with my wing thing? Here it is. And so that's the second endurance. And the third endurance, each person prays. And they pray for various things. And then the fourth endurance is just sort of an exit ending type. And that's the 4 parts of a Sweat Lodge. And of course we incorporated red, white, black, and yellow in there. Waka tonka hoka hey, waka tonka hoka hey, waka tonka hoka hey, waka tonka, oh great spirit, great mystery. Waka, holy. Taka, big holy. Great spirit. Wanaji, Tataka, great spirit. Waka taka pilami, waka taka oka, hey, waka taka. We choni, hey. Wakataka, great spirit. Wakataka, Wichoni, O Great Spirit, I thank you for my life, Wichoni. Wakataka, Oka, hey, Wakataka, Oka, hey, Wakataka, Oka, hey. O Great Spirit, I have heard of Black Elk's great vision. Black Elk's great vision, in which it was foretold the planet would be heating. There would be great change. There would be much corruption upon this land. It would be caused by the blue man of greed, corruption, pollution, disrespect for Mother Earth. I want to kill the blue man, Great Spirit. I want to kill the blue man. Toe Chasha Hoka, hey, Toe Chasha Kyushka, hey. Toe Chasha Kyushka, hey. Toe Chasha is the blue man, Kyushka, hey, I want to kill it. I want to kill it because I know of Black Elk's great vision. Hey, Akasapa, Wawayako. Hey, Akasapa, Wawayake, hey, Akasapa, Wawayake. Wakatanka, Hoka, hey. Wakatanka, Hoka, hey. Wakatanka, Hoka, hey, 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 hey. That was the kind of song you sing in a sweatline. It's pretty, very pretty, very powerful. And then I'm going to sing that in Brulee's band here coming up this summer. I've already sung in his band, and I can sing in Indian. And he needs that in his band. So I got to go down to Sioux Falls in March, and we're going to cut a CD. His Black
Can you tell
Elk
them
Division.
like a little bit about Brule, who,
Huh?
not everybody maybe knows about Brule.
Oh, Brulee is our famous Indian band, and he is really good. And if you ever come to Twin Cities, try to go see it. He just blow you away. And he has dancers in there, and oh God, it's just spectacular. It's beautiful. And everybody that goes to his show loves him. He got real long hair. He looks like Alice Cooper.
But better.
I had long hair, but I just, the hell with it. I cut it off. Playing pickleball, I said, heck, well, I'll buy a wig. I'll buy a wig for when I do on his show. The crowd won't know the difference, you know. So I have quite an adventurous life. I still do, and I had tremendous adventure in the Marine Corps, flying the Phantom F4 in combat. Indians are not supposed to have that PSTV or whatever you call it. We don't have it. We just don't have it. We're warriors. I suppose there may be a few that have it, but we don't think you should have it. But we're honored when we come back from war. We're given the eagle feather and have to speak for the crowd, and nobody makes us feel bad. They don't dare. So we have a totally different life than a lot of people do. So I'm glad that I was raised as a little kid. You don't know any better. You do what the missionaries tell you, but I'm glad that I got broken away from them and I went back into my own spirituality. And I was with a bunch of friends from St. John's University, and we just have a monthly dinner on the first Wednesday of the month. And they all asked me questions about Indians. So and they said, "Ed, how come you broke away from Christianity?" And I said, "Well, you guys asked. I guess I got to tell you." And I must have talked for 15 minutes there. But I just explained to them why I went back. And most of them agreed. Most of them could understand why, And I think that, Indians, you do what you want to do. And we don't push. So I really like the Jewish faith. They do not push. I think proselytization is an insult to the person that you're trying to proselytize, especially to us Indians, because we've suffered so much from proselytization. And I think it's very rude for anybody to come up on us and like posting on email and on Facebook. Boy, I level them. I level them.
You really do.
I do.
Yeah, you really do. I'm his Facebook friend. Well, is anybody I'm gonna cut this off just because it gets too big for me too. If it gets more than an hour, it's hard for me to post, so. What